Here we go again. Common passed on this beat, I made it to a jam. Now everything I'm not made me everything I am. Damn. Here we go again. People talking shit, but when the shit hit the fan, everything I'm not made me everything I am. I never be picture perfect beyond.
Hello, thank you for viewing again. It is the truth. Yes, that is me. Some people have asked me, why do you call yourself the truth? Well, I've been called the truth by other people too, but mainly, you know, I'm a very honest, very real person. Very blunt. I grew up in a very blunt environment. My grandmother was very, very blunt. Most people that know me knew my grandma, knows exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, she always said, you know, just say what's on your mind. Myself to be the truth based off of those things. I also wanted to go over the actual, you know, meaning of the truth. One of the definitions that I really, really like for truth is the true and actual state of a matter. And you remember that, the true and actual state of a matter. That's why I'm the truth. So I just wanted to go over that in case some of you were wondering, like, where did that ever come from? Okay, so moving on to some of the things we discussed last time, you know, was that what I discussed was developing and learning how to have self-growth. And, you know, that has to, of course, start with yourself. And there are many different ways to do that. There's you know, lots of different key things that you have to keep in mind as well in order to, you know, actually develop self-growth. And, you know, you have to remember that it takes time. I mean, we don't get where we're at, you know, within a night or a day. It actually takes time to develop self-growth. You know, and another important thing to remember is that everything is a process. And, you know, things don't just happen right away. It's all a process. One of the places I think that is very important to begin developing self-growth and self-happiness, you know, is just to flat out be honest with yourself about your situation or your circumstances. And, you know, the worst thing that you can do is lie to yourself and create this whole facade that you can't keep up with, you know. And the only person that has to live with deception against yourself, of course, is you. And, you know, there's a lot of different situations that we find ourselves to be unhappy in. And you really have to say, self, I'm not happy anymore. I am sick and tired of this, and I want to change. I mean, a lot of people say, would you really talk to yourself like that? But honestly, you know, when you're trying to you're trying to make a positive change, you know, you're working with yourself, you're relying on yourself. Yeah, I would say, self, I'm not happy. You know, I have done that. And, you know, it actually does, to say it out loud sometimes, instead of just think it, really can do, you know, justice for you. You know, be honest with yourself. Be honest about the situation and actually be positive with that honesty. You know, not pessimistic and honest, but positive and honest, so that, you know, you actually begin to kind of, you know, learn exactly what you want to do, or the possibilities or ways that you want to change things. You know, and then another thing that I feel brings along, you know, self-growth, self-happiness, and inner peace is discovering your self-worth. You know, that is really, really important. in order to discover self-worth, you know, you have to be honest with yourself. And self-worth, I say that a lot in the actual definition. I mean, there's a lot that can come from developing your self-worth. I mean, you will ultimately have more respect for yourself, more respect for your outcome and situations and others that are around you. You know, another thing that is really important if you're trying to find self-happiness, self-peace is very important, inner peace. And some people will say, well, you know, I mean, they consider that peace is just, you know, getting along with things. But it's more than that. It's actually when you're not at war, you know, when you're not at war with the situations or circumstances that are in front of you. You are at peace. And in order to have that peace, you know, once you're honest with yourself and once you develop that self-worth, you will find that inner peace. And sometimes it doesn't actually go in that order, but ultimately those things all come together and you can be happier. You know, it allows you to see things a lot better. It's just like if you're looking in your closet and you're looking for a pair of shoes. If you have all these things that are in your way that are blocking what you're trying to see, how are you going to find it? You know what I mean? And distractions are very, very bad. We'll talk about distractions here in a minute, but you know, when you move forward positively, I mean, it really, really helps to bind all those things together, and finding that peace, you know, allows you to learn to it allows you to move forward. You know, you can be a lot happier with the decisions that you make, and you know, just ultimately feel a lot better about life in itself. And like one of the things that are important too when you're doing this, you have to let go of the things that you can't change, such as things from your past or people around you, you know, that I mean, they can, as much as you might care about them, they can, you know, do the things that they're going to do, but if you can't change them, you can't allow it to take control of you and your life as well. And that's been something that's, I mean, that's very hard to deal with, but it's true. I believe one of the last things, you know, that kind of go into gaining that self-happiness and inner growth is to trust your intuition. Now, some people, you know, they hear the word intuition and they automatically think, oh, okay, so, oh, you're psychic. Well, no, that's not necessarily what intuition is. Yes, you do have to be intuitive to be psychic, but everyone is intuitive. It's just a matter of whether or not you accept it or you believe it or you trust it. Everyone is intuitive. I know we have all said, I knew this was going to happen, or I knew I should have done that, or I knew I should have made a right turn. That is intuition. Ultimately, it's just a gut feeling. It's just you trusting your gut and going with that. And when you trust your intuition, you're learning to trust yourself. And when you're honest with yourself, you see I'm going somewhere with this. It's a pattern. When you're honest with yourself, you develop the self-worth. You know, you go on to finding that inner peace. You let go of the things that you can't change and you trust your inner self. You're relying on yourself then. And you're learning that you are basically, you know, able to